Remember, there's some pretty important information here in the disclaimer. You might want to give the video a quick pause and read it.
Oh, hey everybody, it's me, Sonic! Sonic the Hedgehog! Just here to remind you that if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button. And for even more amazing customs, don't forget to subscribe to Wake Angel 2001! Because between you and me, they're way past cool!
Hello my friends, Wake Angel 2001 coming at you with the commission for Jordanna. It is Ikoma, this guy. Clearly an anime character, but I never heard of him. I have no idea what show he is from. But apparently the show was popular enough to get merchandise because here's a statue of the guy. So yeah, making an action figure of that. Okay, now this is probably the longest I've ever worked on a commission. I have been trying to make this figure for well over a year. The problem is that I had a bit of a false start. You see, the base body was supposed to be this, sort of one of those blank buck Figma figures. The problem is, what me and Jordanna didn't realize was that this was a knockoff. The figure was actually quite terrible. Here's a picture of the figure taken out of the package after I tried to do some custom work on it. Quite frankly, this thing was just unworkable. Some of the joints were so tight they creaked and squeaked as I moved them. Others are so loose and floppy they have virtually no friction. The thing feels terrible in the hand. I don't think that I would even be able to paint this thing because the plastic doesn't feel like something I'd be able to paint very well. And if you look up on his hips, not his thighs, you can see where I sculpted the thighs, but you see those white things on the hips? That's where I put some paper there and plasticized it with some crazy glue because out of the packaging, his hips wouldn't come together. Yeah, the pieces that they used to make his hips, like his little crotch plate there, it didn't, meet. It wasn't a single piece. They didn't come together seamlessly. This is just a poorly assembled knockoff, which absolutely is not usable as a figure for making a custom out of, so I got this far working on it little by little and realized that there's no way that I was gonna actually be able to do this. So I abandoned it and worked on this figure instead. It is a Star Wars Night Brother. I picked one up on clearance at GameStop. This was a much more workable character. First of all, the build quality is much better. And second of all, he has the same physique. He's wearing similar pants. He's shirtless, just like Ikoma is. Of course, there is the hang up of making an anime character out of a Western action figure because the aesthetics don't always mesh. Biggest issue with this is that the Night Brother has kind of like a squared off jaw, while Ikoma has a more pointy anime dude jaw, and that's always the hardest part. That's the irreconcilable difference. I mean, you just don't get a lot of feminine faced men in Western culture. That's just not a thing that they do. But whatever. Like I said, at this point, I had been working on this project for such a long time and felt so terrible about it taking such a long time that I said, screw it, I'll use whatever I can. So the base body required surprisingly little alteration. Once I cut away the little skirt piece that hangs off of the belt, the pants are basically the same design. Oh, Jordanna specifically asked not to do that whole torn pant leg thing. That's why he's wearing symmetrical pants in the action figure, even though in the reference images you see him with like a torn pant leg. So if you're wondering why that's the case, that's the case. What was very important was that I got that vein pattern, those red lines on his body, down correctly. So this is something where I worked along with the contours of the action figure. Like where the articulation points go, that's where a lot of the lines went. And Jordanna helpfully included this picture of the character from the back so I could get the details on the back as well. With that done, what even is that? Does he have pieces of metal bolted and grafted directly to his skin? How is that not causing a massive infection? How is he not getting lockjaw? Honestly, like I said, I'm completely unfamiliar with the show, so all I have going is the character design. So, that looks kind of painful. To just have pieces of metal stapled to you like that. Well, on the figure, they are made out of craft foam. They are kind of, wrapped around the way that they go, those metal plates, and what looks like one belt that's wrapped around his shoulder. I think this is supposed to be like something that holds a weapon on his back, but, I'm not really sure. To me, it's just a bunch of random straps. Looking up close, for the ones that are meant to be metal, I painted over them with a layer of crazy glue so that they would have like a shiny metallic look to them. While the belt part is just sealed with normal matte finish, which gives it more of a leathery look. So, yeah. Oh, you can also see that thing on his neck. That is this. It's that collar piece that he wears. It is also made out of craft foam. And funnily enough, it's not actually glued to the neck. It's just kind of resting on there by friction and holds on very well because I happen to make it the perfect size. And this was the belt. It's an actual belt that I wrapped around. Don't try to remove it. I glued it onto the torso to make sure it would stay at the right angle. And once I had the body pretty much done, the arms and feet are mostly just a repaint. He has a glove on his right hand, a fingerless glove, of course, along with those vein things that continue down. And instead of doing any intense remolding of the feet, the Knight Brothers shoes actually are patterned in such a way that if you paint a skin tone on the low points, it looks like he's wearing sandals that are a similar design to Ikoma's. I really don't like working on extremely detailed feet designs, so I just decided to leave it at that. So that was the body. Ikoma is all, done up. And it's kind of interesting how, on that Figma body, I would have had to do things like sculpt the pants and crap. But so far, all the fabrication you see me do here has almost nothing to do with sculpting. The only sculpting on this figure are a few of the bolts on his waist belt. That's it. So that's where the head comes in. I had to turn this Knight Brother into Ikoma's head. The first thing I did was give him his little glasses. They are made out of craft foam because that's the easiest thing that I could fabricate into a shape like this, even if they come out a little bit thicker. And then I painted his skin tone the right color and sculpted on his hair. Yeah, almost all the sculpting just went into this dude's hair. And hair's hard. I really wish that I could have just had a figure that had a similar hair design. But, I don't even if I could have found a head like that, I'm not sure if the ball joint would have been compatible with this Knight Brother. And I was lucky enough to get this figure on clearance, and I had a $5 coupon at GameStop, and even then it cost me $20. So, I'm not looking to buy another base figure just to get a head that might fit this thing. So, it's sculpted and painted. Kind of an olive green. Might be a little bit darker than the reference image, but, there's only so much I can do. The little bang that comes in front of his face was pre-sculpted earlier so that I could just mush it into the head hair while it was still wet and create an impression where I'll be able to glue it on afterwards. This, of course, allows me to paint his face and then put the bang on top afterwards. And, aside from the fact that his jaw is a little bit more squared off and his expression is significantly angrier looking than the stoic look he has in the reference artwork, I feel like that's kind of the best I could do to get Ikoma's look down. So, with putting the head back on the figure, the collar piece looks a little bit oversized, but again, custom working here. And, yeah, we have us an Ikoma. That is indeed the character that I made. I preserved all the original articulation, especially, which, is especially harrowing on the right shoulder because of all the crap that goes around it. Attaching all those pieces in such a way to make sure they wouldn't impede the shoulder joint in any way was kind of the most important part of getting this character's look right. And yeah, that's Ikoma. I don't think I'm gonna do anime characters like this anymore. Like, unless the base figure is anime, which is in itself a kind of a rare case, because unless it's My Hero Academia or Dragon Ball Z, occasionally Sailor Moon, we don't really get a lot of anime action figures in the United States, and I really don't want to start tearing apart expensive Figmas. Besides, they're made out of a type of plastic that's very difficult to paint anyway, so I wouldn't want to use that as a custom base anyway. But, yeah, I'm really going to be extremely picky if anybody wants me to make an anime character for them in the future, because anime characters are hard. Like, I really think that I've been working on this figure longer than any other figure I've ever worked on, and it was not really that fun a process. Once I finally got a compatible base toy, like, the project breezed through in a little under a month, but at that point, I've already been working on it for over a year, so that, like, looking at this thing just fills me with an intense feeling of guilt at how long it actually took. So, yeah, that's the story. So this is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.